Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the Ahn Rho Project. This is the first of two live streams today. Ahn Rho Project is this self-therapeutic multimedia project for me to solve the problems and challenges in my life, as well as just that the internet connection is a bit unstable. So with that being said, if there's any sort of disruptions, I apologize. You can just re-enter the stream. Now, with that being said, what we want to cover here is obviously, a part of the introduction, the Ahn Rho Project that I told you about. It's broken down to three different things, such as three different, conceptual ways of describing what I do. So there are subseries, domains, and analogies. Analogies are just ways for you to understand what the Ahn Rho Project is about. Domains are different areas of life, such as finance, employment, business, relationships, caregiving, groceries, electronics, whatever it is, yada yada, so on and so forth, that are covered within the Ahn Rho Project. And of course, subseries combine several of those elements for specific examples, such as 1000 Days Till Death focuses on management. Obviously, in the title, you can see even the title, it says 31.7%, sorry, and that's actually saying that I have 317 days passed since the 1K beginning. And so there are other sub-series. The main one we're focusing on in this live stream is BDMP. At the beginning, it does say that in the title, episode 16A, and that's really just the basics of getting life sorted out, from basics: food, relationships, sleep, and just getting to work and all that kind of stuff. So, of course, in this particular stream, I said that I want to cover a whole bunch of different relationships and be able to offer some sort of, obviously I'm not going to go into too much detail, not just for time constraints, but out of privacy concerns. Well, not concerns, but just general limitations. Like, you don't want to dive too deep into whatever matters that I'm going to speak about. So I just have to, again, this is part of the management project. This is essentially what the Ahn Rho Project is, and we're going to start with the panel on the right hand side, which you see is enumerated from 1 to 10. So today I am a bit late, and that has a lot to do with one of the particular things that obviously we're going to be touching on: relationships from work, business, distant relatives, family, someone I consider to be family, also clients and staff or colleagues. So those are a wide variety, at least 6 different, groups of people, as well as sort of external, what used to be volunteers, fellow volunteers of mine. I was a volunteer as well. And so we're going to try and cover all of that within the next 10 minutes or so. Okay, the second live stream, by the way, if you want to pop by, is going to be administrative stuff as well as largely some general upkeep. So that is going to be more focused on the basics, but more on that later. And of course, the most important take-home message will be covered in that live stream as well. So why don't we get started? I can see that it's enumerated 1 through 10. The first two actually don't have to do with people necessarily. It does, but it was more about a conversation that I had at my workplace with my manager as well as HR, and they were very understanding, and they were very to the point, and we were talking a lot about accountability, and basically me doing this stream, by the way, this project, in addition to the side business that I'm running, in addition to full-time work, in addition to doing caregiving for my guardians who have fallen severely ill. The point is, needless to say, I've been showing up late, not just for this project. Again, this live stream is supposed to be held about 3 to 5 a.m. in the morning, ideally, but right now it's about 8 a.m. and so I'm already about 3 to 4 hours late. But that also means that it's pushed into my workspace, so obviously I should be at work right now, is what my general intention is. So we had that conversation, and it was a nice conversation. They were very understanding, and they also know they're very professional. And so with that being said, we did have a conversation about that, not just me trying to keep myself accountable. And I would actually said, I actually didn't want to get paid because I feel I had been letting down my team. But obviously that's kind of silly, because if you're going to work for a company, it's just better for bookkeeping and record keeping sake that especially with COVID-19, that that's something I hadn't thought of, but that my HR manager had spoken of, that I just actually do get paid, and in fact, punch in, punch out, that was something that I felt, I'm not even really there. I'm late all the time, but they said it's important, and so I'm putting aside some of the, I guess, personal issues I've had. Now that we've had I guess, a very just a generally serious, semi-formal kind of casual conversation about it, and I'm more than willing to put up what all the sort of negative habits I've had associated with maybe 25 years of demeanor, 3 decades of, I guess, personal stuff that really is not to be mentioned until for another stream. So with that being said, the point is, needless to say, I've tried to rework myself. So that's 0, 2. Number 2, I'm going to rework my behavior, at least for the 8 hours that I'm actually at my workplace, or more recently, only about 6 hours a day. But they've been very forgiving about that. And this is, by the way, a fantastic company. I can't speak more highly of my colleagues, the people I work with, and the owners and the family. It's a family-run business. Absolutely amazing people. I'll just abbreviate by the B family, as well as the entire work culture there, and all the people, the community that I work with. I'm very grateful for that. So that bleeds from 1 and 2, actually even into 10. I spoke a little bit. I obviously I'm being very vague with my words, because I want to keep what I do here on this stream, on this Ahn Rho Project, separate from specifically any organizations that I'm actually affiliated with. I don't want any sort of influence on them, or although there are some influences on the project for sure, because this is a project that's comprehensive in nature. So that's 1 and 2, and actually bleeds into, I believe, number 4 right there, and just some colleagues there, making sure that to be held accountable, of course. I've been trying to hold myself accountable, and so one thing we've actually set upon is just switching up the schedule. They said they offered to, maybe we can work around with different schedules and times that I show up, and also that it's important that, if I'm not going to show up at the time that that people are used to, then I just call in and make sure to communicate that there's going to be some issues getting on time and when I can be expected to be there. So that's been worked out. I actually gave a phone call today, and I'm going to continue to do that for the next week, testing out my schedule. So with that being said, that was a long-winded one. That was the most serious one, and that's the main reason why that actually took about 5 minutes. But the next few ones are hopefully going to be quicker. Number 3 is actually catching up with a friend who hit me up over on Facebook back in my university days. And so M is a very good friend of mine, who back in the day was very supportive of me. And well, I guess back then it's just because both of us were very withdrawn due to just family-related issues. She's had her own. She doesn't have a father, obviously, so that already has a severe implication. For me, also very damaging things just growing up. And again, this is just our responsibility. I'm not a big fan of the victim mentality that's out there in 2020 and the past 5 years or so. But this is our responsibility as individuals to handle for ourselves. You're not kids, you're adults, so please just handle yourselves. And basically, I want to keep up with her, and she hit me up, and it's been 2-3 weeks. I feel awful. I want to get back to her. So that's 3. Number 4, and by the way, all these people here I'm listing down, whether from work or business or friends or distant relatives, are all people who I am grateful for, and I'm trying to show appreciation for it within this live stream and further live streams, obviously. So moving down, so 1 through 4 is done. 5, we have 2 people I actually want to get in touch with related to business. So again, I've mentioned, actually you can see right here, this book is related to one of the businesses that I'm working with that have to do with molecular research applied to cellular nutrition, and that's a lot of verbal jargon. Just think of healthcare. Just think of healthcare and scientific development. Needless to say, one of my team members is she actually brought me in. So KM, I've spoken on previous live streams, a fantastic individual. She's been through hell with her and her husband, and I just want to say that obviously I haven't been keeping up the tabs with her with a certain situation going down with the business. However, the good thing is that the second person I want to keep in touch with, so I'm going to abbreviate her by SS, who works in customer service, fantastic person, and she managed to resolve my case in a very timely and professional fashion. I could also tell that she was just being overall a very just going above and beyond to help me and get in touch with the supervisor and the committee that was responsible for the issue that I was having. So again, very vague stuff, but basically customer service. I really want to call her back because she called me back and just say a brief thank you for being so, forward and outgoing, and also for just resolving the case and everything like that. So I want to say thank you for that. And of course, keeping in touch, I want to keep that update. I want to bring that news over to KM, who is on my team, and just let her know that's all worked out. So again, two fantastic individuals who I've had the pleasure to meet. Moving down to number 6. Again, we have about 4 more left, so 6, 7, 8, 9. 6 is very shortly, briefly to say, over the weekend, and you've seen the title. It says senior, so basically, again, I also volunteer for a long-term care center, and so one of these clients, actually, their family has become a lot like my family because I've had a very broken dynamic within my household for the past 3 decades, and I would say that basically it's not really like family until as of the past 6 months when shit went down the drain and they developed a severe illness. That's actually number 9 you actually see. But basically we'll get there soon, and all I'm going to say is that basically they're like between CC and CH. That's he's over 90 years old. I try to keep him out of the social isolation, by just calling him every single week to make sure that he doesn't get too depressed. His wife has Alzheimer's, dementia, that kind of stuff, and obviously his daughters there are very stressed out being a caregiver. I'm just trying to take off whatever stress and alleviate them in any way that I can. Again, keeping my distance due to COVID-19. Number 7. Next is actually, I said 9, but 7. Basically, my caregiver's severe illness. So I wanted to, of course, do this business here. And I'm going to show this book here for a second. Needless to say, I made a mistake, and I had to do this meeting, I guess a service appointment with my guardians. I'm the caregiver now. Needless to say, I actually want to help them using this company on the side that I'm running as a business. Now, the products are very of high quality and high standards, but the thing is, obviously, you wouldn't recommend anything to anybody without giving them enough background, and that was one of my rookie mistakes on the business. So that's something that I intended on doing and sitting down both of my guardians, and I have done that. And so we had maybe about an hour long, late at night touch about that, talking about that, about the company, the founder, the origins, the products, how the science works, all that kind of stuff. So the main hitting point here is that I didn't sign out my contact information on this booklet that I gave them, which is really introduction booklet. So I have to do that later today and then return it back to them. So that's a class 4 item I'm giving away. That's also class 1 because obviously I purchased it myself. Actually, I didn't purchase it myself. I should mention that these 2 booklets were given to me from KM, my colleague, and my team. So with that being said, the last 2 really. 8 is just getting in touch with one of my cousins. I'll say cousin E. Basically, I want to deliver the product for him. It's actually down here. I'll have to cover it tomorrow's live stream. I'm running out of time. But basically, we're just gonna chat up and just catch up, and then also just deliver him the product for that business and for health related reasons. Finally, 9 is keeping up with a bunch of volunteers who have actually met at a hospital that I used to volunteer at. Obviously, COVID-19, that's been stalled, but 3 people there who, again, I treat almost like family. They're all retired and they're fantastic people, physiotherapists, RNs. And so that's the end of this live stream. I'll continue off in the second live stream today, so we'll see you in about maybe 10 to 15 minutes when we cover more administrative stuff. This wraps up the relationships. Thank you. Wow.